I just want to share a little bit about my experience being a first-time home buyer. So, around last year, I bought my first property in the US, and it was in Las Vegas. It's a one bedroom, one bath condo that I bought in the Las Vegas area. And so, prior to that, I did real estate work. I was in the business for about 4 years. I would say 4 to 5 years, four-ish years. Right after the pandemic, I was studying for the real estate license, and I was able to attain it about 2021, and I got into the business and did a little bit of real estate work while I was a real estate agent. And during that experience, I had the desire to also buy my first property. And so I was saving up money, I was working to make sure that I could give myself an opportunity to buy property down the line. So fast forward to 2025, I would say around February of 2025, um, was when that became a lot more realistic goal that I could be able to attain. So, I was able to get pre-qualified, gather all the documents that I needed for me to get a loan. And uh, at the time, I was living in California, and if you know about California real estate, it's very expensive there. So I was looking at it, and I looking at properties and looking at the value and realized like it's just way too expensive for me to invest in. So I thought maybe I can invest out of state, maybe uh states that are closer by to California. And Vegas was one of the options that I was really considering. As a matter of fact, I don't really think I was considering many other states other than Vegas. Couple reasons being that obviously Las Vegas property is a lot cheaper than California, so that's for one. Another thing, another factor is Las Vegas is also very close to California, like an hour flight, 4 to 5 hour drive, so very close to my home, which I also liked. It's also a place that I would frequently visit, for trips and vacations and things like that. And also, one of my family members has experience of buying property there. And so I've got to see what it was like, just what that experience was like for that family member to own property and live in it and also eventually rent it out. And I felt like I also had the connection there, and that family member connected me to a new agent and lender as well. So having that, I felt like Las Vegas was a, a appropriate place to invest in. And so I around February of last year of 2025, I thought this is like the perfect chance and the right place for me to invest in. And so I started looking. I got pre-qualified, and I got the connections to an agent there. And I would say, so not only is buying a home like the biggest investment, probably the most money you're gonna spend in your lifetime, not only is it the biggest purchase, probably the biggest purchase of your life, but it's also another challenge added to that was I was also going to move to Japan um in April. So I was looking to see if it's possible to try to get a property right away and right before I make my move to Japan. So it was a very tricky situation, and I honestly wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to pull it off. But I know it's possible, because because of how I was timing it is, well, if I just take one weekend of doing showings of all the properties that I liked, if there is one that I really like, then I would just put an offer in for that. And hopefully that offer gets accepted. You go through the standard 30-day escrow period, and hopefully closing right before I move out to Japan. So that was the game plan. That was the blueprint that I had. And considering that I had experience in the real estate business, I know what to expect, how to handle the deals and and be able to negotiate, having been an agent myself. So, yeah, I got the ball rolling on that. I first thing is getting pre-qualified, finding that lender, and there was one weekend where um immediately, like right after I contact the agent, I wanted to view the properties right away. There's already properties around the ballpark number that I was pre-qualified at, that I wanted to buy. Um, yeah, there was a specific number that I was aiming for an investment, and so I looked for some properties and showed the properties to my agent of some of the homes that I was interested in, and that weekend, I ended up driving to Vegas and kind of making a nice little day trip, or like a one night stay there, while viewing property and just relaxing. But the main reason to go is obviously to check out the property. So I go there, I think I stayed a night or two, and yeah, checked out all the property on a Saturday, and there were a few that I like, maybe like two or three that I was really considering putting an offering in. Um, but there was one in particular that really caught my eye. And one of the reasons being was that the property already had a tenant inside. So as an investor and looking for a long-term tenant, I felt like that would have my work cut out for me in finding a tenant for a property, especially for a vacant one. So there's already a tenant with a lease agreement, 1 year lease agreement for that property, and I thought that's the one that really caught my eye. The property looked pretty good, pretty decent, and so I believe my agent just suggested just to put the offer in for just that property. And yeah, I wasn't sure if there were many other offers to it. It didn't seem like there wasn't. There was. It didn't seem like there was many offers on it. So I thought, yeah, I just want to go for it and put in an offer for that, and hopefully it gets accepted because that's my first option. And I had other options too, and if that offer didn't get accepted, then I probably would have put offers on the couple other properties I was interested in, but that was number one on my list. And so I'm just hoping with the time crunch, to just get the offer accepted. And yeah, I put in the offer. The offer did get accepted at the price that I've wanted, and I believe it was at the listed price or close to it. Um, and so I got the offer accepted, and it was either around late February or early March, but I got it accepted and hoping that we have a standard 30-day escrow where we don't have any issues. So it only took one weekend for me to view the property and get an offer accepted, which is very quick, right? And depending on the market where it's at, sometimes it'll take longer to get the home that you want, right, at the right price and to get it accepted. Maybe if it's a lot more of a competitive market, like a buyer's market, you have multiple offers on a house, and it might be very difficult for your offer to get chosen. which makes it can be a very lengthy period for you uh, to find property that you like and also get your offer accepted. And because of, in my instance, I was in a time crunch trying to get a property before I move out. Um, you know, I had more of a sense of urgency and willing to put in a stronger offer to get a property, to get an accepted offer right away and get into escrow. Fortunately enough, I was able to do that, and we agreed on a standard 30-day escrow. My desire was actually try to do everything possible to make it quicker than a 30-day escrow, meaning that I had to do all the responsibilities, whatever part on my end that I could control, I try to take care of it right away. And obviously there's the things like the inspection. So the expense inspection checked out. There's nothing alarming with the property that made me want to get out of escrow. And obviously making sure that the things with the loans, everything they asked of me, the requirements, I made sure that those were all taken care of. And yeah, so there's all that. I think there was a little bit of negotiation on getting some credit for closing costs. I can't remember from the top of my head what exactly um I was getting credit for. Maybe for a little repair on the water heater. It might be one of those things, but it was a very minor thing, and I believe I got a little bit of credit for that. And yeah, I think that, so the escrow, I once I was in escrow, I felt good, but it's all about making sure that I close on time now at that point. And the thing was, they had to extend the escrow because I think there's more things that the lender was asking for, and there's like a big a waiting period in that regard. I forgot the specifics on that. I would have to go back and check, but that did extend my escrow and into, I believe, April, like the very beginning of April. And yeah, at that point I was a bit worried because I was getting ready to head out to Japan. I think timing wise, I wasn't sure if I was gonna work out. And at the time too, I had to be in Ohio to do some sort of training for my job, and so uh I had to sign. I had to get a notary and sign some documents. I believe it was the loan documents, and I didn't know at the time that if you were in a different location, you could get a notary. Uh, like let's say I was actually at in Ohio, but all my transaction was happening in Nevada while I was living in California. So all those things are going on, and I had to be in person to do the notary. But I didn't know that you could do notaries like out of state and get another notary person from another state to be able to sign a document if you're somewhere else. So, that worked out. That was not um a big deal. But now it's a matter of making sure I get the keys in time, and yeah, being able to give the keys to a property manager, or yeah, just get the keys. Actually, I didn't need a property manager at the time. I knew the previous owner did have one managing it for that tenant. But decided that I maybe it would be best for me to do it on my own. But I was considering of getting a property manager at that time too. So I was wondering if I need to get a property manager to get the keys um right before I leave to Japan. And the timeline, there was a lot of uncertainty with that, and I wasn't sure. So that was a big worry of mine, a big concern. Fortunately, my departure to Japan had a delay. So that delay, even though my escrow got delayed, my departure to go to Japan also got delayed. So it gave me time to actually be able to get the keys to check out the property one more time and close on the escrow. So I was able to obtain that property and get my first purchase of a home in Las Vegas right before I made my transition to Japan. So long story short, it all worked out in that time crunch, and I was able to purchase the home and get through the escrow, get through the whole process of buying a home right before a a big transition in my life and me physically moving out of the US. And yeah, the whole purchase went well, things went good. Um, and I could share a little bit since then up to this point. Uh, my experience of owning a home was like, um, and maybe I could do that on the next video. I'll actually save that on the next video. I was thinking about sharing it now, but I think with this video, just wanted to share what that was like buying my first home. And I know a lot of people have similar experience to that, and um, it goes by pretty smooth. And for the most part, for me, it went pretty quickly. It was pretty smooth, other than the escrow being extended for a couple days or about a week or so. It still worked out timing wise. And in my case, it was a little bit more challenging because I was preparing for a transition in my life, actually moving out to another country. And so I was able to still purchase a home and get it done, even though I was preparing to actually leave for Japan. And we got it done. And I wasn't before purchasing the home, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to pull it off, but I actually did. And that's something I would say I'm pretty proud of. I'm glad I was able to accomplish this goal because it was one of my biggest goals in recent years to buy property and to be an investor of a property to own a home. Feels good. And yeah, it's I think so far it has been worth it. Although it had owning the home had its challenges too, especially the fact that I had to own it from afar. But that experience I could probably share on on the next video, on another video, what it was like um, being a homeowner for the past year. But I just want to share that. That's something I really want to share on the content. Was my experience of owning a property and or actually purchasing one for the first time. So maybe uh, you could get something out of it and see if if you want to invest in a property, buy a home for yourself, whether it's for you to live in or for you to invest in. Just wanted to share my brief story about that and what my experience was like, and hopefully you get something good out of it.